This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken.
Discourse with Dr. Ken. I'm going to break tradition today because for the first time I'm bringing in a government official, a top government official for that matter. You remember you guys have sent a lot of messages and you have advised and suggested, why don't you bring people from government to tell us what they do in government and how far they are doing with our livelihood. I didn't just only respond, but I went as far as going to the regional governments and talking about the state. So I've been able to bring a substantial resource, a guest today, and I'm talking of no other than the Honorable Commissioner for Digital Economy, Imo State, and I'm talking of Dr. Chimezie Amadi. Dr. Chimezie, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you, Ken, and thanks for having me.
Yes, and how is the weather in Imo State, or to be specific?
Well, as always, very lovely, so welcoming, slightly sunny, not harsh, but very, very appetizing weather. Let me put it that way.
Appetizing, I like that, appetizing. After the Sunday services, it should be appetizing so that we can take our rice and stew. This is the discourse, and listeners, you know what the discourse is. If you know, it's a masterclass, and if we're not discussing economy, we are discussing business. Well, if we are not discussing business, leadership, it could be tech. It could be creative, economic, whatever. And we have industry experts. We have huge resource people who have all been on the discourse, subject matter experts. But today is taking another turn because I'm bringing you a top government official from Imo State, like I said, Dr. Chimezie Amadi. And the topic is what? The digital economy and the importance of regional development. Are we ready, Dr. Chimezie Amadi?
Yes, we are.
Fantastic. So let me start with... since I have I have you, and talk coming from government. Before we go into digital economy, let me take this opportunity and advantage and ask you this question: why is it that good governance, good effective governance, matter both at federal and sub-regional level?
Well, of course, effective and good governance. I love the way you qualified it. Matters a lot because governance is about. Governance is about keeping the social contract between the people who are described as the governed and the leaders in government who are holding those contracts in trust for all the people. So it matters a lot because the people have, kind of given their trust to you to hold, and that trust you're holding on their behalf, they expect you to use your God-given talent, your intelligence, your experience to deliver good governance to them in terms of social development, economic development, in terms of general well-being and the prosperity of the people. So that's why it's very, very important. And it's not a business for the greenhorns. It's a business for serious-minded people. Because the fate of millions of people and the fate of development of a society is within that tenor given to you, and you must be able to deliver.
Fantastic. I was very deliberate when I asked that question because it all comes down to governance and it all comes down to leadership. But today we are going to talk about the digital economy and the importance of that to regional development. And let me, as is customary on the program, let me just summarize the profile of Dr. Chimezie Amadi. Dr. Chimezie Amadi is the Honorable Commissioner for Digital Economy and the E-Government, Imo State, Southeast Nigeria. He is a technocrat, digital innovation and entrepreneurship expert and a researcher. Dr. Amadi has over 20 years of work experience at the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, with career covering areas such as telecoms, regulations, policy development, digital ecosystem development, and management. Dr. Chimezie Amadi is a graduate of the prestigious University of Ibadan, and he is a lover of growth and development. The project Nigeria is styled as a blueprint to achieving a growth trajectory that encapsulates the entire national fabric. The idea is to enhance the human capital index, like you said, and focus on the development of the mind and education, especially digital age education and several orientation. Is that what you are seeing today, both at federal, at government, and sub-regional levels? All these things we have encapsulated and described, are you already seeing it at both federal and state levels?
Yes, we have, as a sub-national, and having a state being piloted by a visionary leader, His Excellency Distinguished Senator Uzodinma. By the way, he was the first governor to create the Ministry of Economy and E-Government. So talking about the Project Nigeria and its direct relationship with human capital development, especially in the digital subsector, is something that has been energized not by the demands of any human being or by the choice of any human being, but by the global trend. Digital transformation is sweeping across sectors, across vertical and non-vertical sectors, and it has changed the way we live, the way we work, the way we educate ourselves, the way we trade amongst each other between countries. And this has necessitated the need for states to begin to have a conscious and deliberate developmental projects to make sure that they grow a robust digital economy. Otherwise, that state risks, a country risks of finding itself in the doldrum of history. So, and digital skills development is at the center of digital economy development itself. And that's what the governor saw with the benefit of hindsight and foresight, decided to launch one of the greatest human capital development program called the Skill of IMO, aiming to train young people and equipping them with fourth industrial revolution skill sets so that they can hone their skills and apply their trade anywhere in the world. The federal government on its own also is very conscious of that. And that's why you can see projects like the 3MTT, which is 3 million technical talent. And also you have projects like Technical Talent Export Program, which Nigeria as a state is also pursuing to make sure that we as a country are able to boast of digitally empowered citizens who are ready to become players in the evolving digital economy. So I would say yes, that's part of what we saw as a subnational and as a country. That is well encapsulated in the Project Nigeria as one of the dimensions that the country must pursue if we want sustained economic growth and development for its people.
Okay, great. I'm happy you captured it the way you did. It's very interesting. Now, digital economy, you agree with me, has become a buzzword, but many argue that its potential often outpaces infrastructure and policies in place. In the case of Imo State, do you think we are running before we've learned how to work, or are we making up for lost time in an innovative way?
Oh, okay. Well, I think Imo has been very visionary in its approach to developing its digital economy. There are pillars to a robust digital economy. And some of the pillars for us as a state, which we captured in our policy. Everything must start with policy. And that's why first of all, we didn't set out there and start running. We decided to sit down by developing that policy. We crawled, we are standing now, and we are beginning to run as a state. So this policy is called the IDEA 2022 to 2026. The IDEA means Imo Digital Economy Agenda, and that has given us a clear vision of what we want to achieve. Looking at the 6 pillars of the IDEA, you have digital skills and literacy, you have solid infrastructure, you have service infrastructure, you have advocacy, you have monitoring and evaluation, and you have partnership and collaboration. These are building blocks to developing any digital economy in the world. And if you look at the federal policy called ENDEPS, Nigerian digital economy strategy program or project, that will be terminating, I think, sometime in 2030. They also have their own pillars in that, and their pillars are not far from what I have mentioned. So because these pillars are important, the country needs to define its focus and define a plan and set out targets it wants to achieve in that plan and have a way of measuring those targets so that at each point in time you can go back to it and say, how well am I doing and how well am I not doing? That's what IMO as a sub-national has done. So we are very clear where we want to head and how we want to get there and when we will get there. For our own case, by 2026, we would have looked at IDEA version 1 and see where did we meet all the targets in terms of developing the digital service infrastructure. Did we develop the solid infrastructure? When I talk about solid infrastructure, I'm looking at things like the broadband infrastructure. What coverage do we have? What coverage did we plan to achieve before 2026 and where are we at the moment? When you talk about digital skills and literacy, how much of our citizens are digitally empowered? How much of our citizens are digitally literate? How much of our citizens can use digital tools effectively and efficiently to promote and enable efficiency in their trade? How much of digital technology have we infused in governance in Imo State to ensure smart governance? And how much of digital technology or digital tools have we deployed within different sectors, the commerce sector, so that SMEs in Imo State are adopting technology for scaling, for growth, and for higher efficiency? So this is what the vision in Imo is. And I think also that's the vision at the federal level.
I heard you say that your ministry is the first in Nigeria created at sub-regional level. And that is quite exciting, that some person could sit down and think out of that. I wonder what the whole of Nigeria was waiting for. So if that is factual, it brings me to what I call the crisis paradox. Imo State, for example, much like Nigeria, faces overlapping crises, economic, social, and political. Do you think we've become too reliant on digital economy, technology, as a way to mask deeper systematic issues rather than maybe confronting them first before this?
Well, technology is like a North Star that has succeeded in pointing everything to itself. And the impact of technology cannot be overemphasized. We have seen that in terms of addressing socio-economic related problems. In the developed world, we have seen economies scale rapidly as a result of technology adoption and technology infusion in both the non-vertical and vertical sectors of their economy. Imo State is only being, like I said, very visionary and proactive. There are challenges everywhere in the world. There are challenges in Nigeria as a nation. There are challenges in Imo State as a sub-national in Nigeria. There are challenges in Africa. There are also global challenges that cut across what you mentioned: social, political, economic, high youth unemployment, insecurity. All these things are challenges. And so far human beings continue to exist on planet Earth, there will always be challenges. But the issue is, how do we intend to tackle these challenges? That's where leadership matters. And that's where His Excellency Distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma took a very pragmatic step, that is dynamic and in tune with what the time is saying, by leveraging digital technology as an opportunity to solve array of challenges, within the Imo economy. Youth unemployment. That is one of the best ways to tackle youth unemployment. Using technology, upskilling, reskilling, and having targeted training that addresses today's and future industry demands. It's a pragmatic way of addressing the challenge of youth unemployment. I will tell you something. Digital skills development, when you look at it global digital skills gap. A study by the World Economic Forum revealed that 87% of companies globally are already reporting digital skills shortages. And you have 39% of the current skills that we have today. I talk about the non-digital skills that we have today. 39% of them will be going obsolete by the year 2030. And you find out that companies are beginning to position. And as these opportunities for technical development is happening, innovation is happening, it is throwing up new opportunities for a different kind of skill. And each of these different kind of skill presents opportunity for new job creation and employment. And that's the path the Imo State is going. So if we become the Discourse digital skills hub of Nigeria, that means a lot of job opportunity will be created for our teeming youth. And that will address head-on the issue of youth unemployment. Then you talk about social development. There is a whole lot of challenges around that. Then digital technology also is a faster pathway to addressing social development. How people interact with each other, how people can harness better living, better lifestyle. Technology is making things easy, integrating community the more, presenting better way of living to people in a sustainable manner, addressing things like food insecurity, addressing like insecurity itself, addressing all the social problems that you have. Innovations within the tech space is headed towards making life better for everybody. And that is why the government in Imo State and a lot of other subnationals have seen that opportunity that technology presents to address them. Like I said, Ken, problem is everywhere. Problem will never cease to exist. Even Christ our Lord in the Bible also acknowledged that. But what makes the difference between one leader and the other is how visionary are you and how pragmatic are you in devising ways of tackling those problems in a sustainable manner.
Great to hear that. How visionary are you and how pragmatic are you? Because in today's times, it's quite interesting times, very difficult times. So the more pragmatic a leader is, the better results and outcomes we get. That's what I hear you say, isn't it? Now, let's talk about promises without power. You know, many leaders talk about transforming their regions into digital hubs, for example. But resources and decision-making power often don't align with these ambitions.
Promises are pledges. And why democracy is good is that people make promises and the citizens watch them keep or not keep those promises. And in another round of election, the citizens will be able to judge them or give a scorecard on their performances. Well, I am currently, can you hear me, Ken?
Clearly, loud and clear.
Okay. I am currently resident in Imo State and I am serving as a government official in Imo State. So please permit me to talk specifically on Imo State. I'm going to niche down on Imo about keeping promises as a government.
Okay.
And I will tell you, to a very large extent, the government in Imo State, led by His Excellency Distinguished Senator Zodema, has substantially kept his promises to the people. The social contract he had with the people, he has religiously executed that. There's a whole lot of changes, transformative changes you will see in Imo State today. I don't know the last time you visited Imo State, but I will gladly invite you to come to Imo State. You will see the changes in terms of road revolution that is happening in Imo. Education sector is having the best time ever in Imo State. Under his leadership, newer educational institutions have been established, both federal and some of the state institutions have been upgraded to a federal institution. And new focused institutions like the University of Agriculture that is created in Omagwo. I don't think there is any other one in the Southeast. Okay, I think there is one, maybe the second, owned by the state. Okay, he's also there as part of his scorecard. You talk about social development, you will see that an average Imo person is happier today. I'm not saying we don't have challenges. Yes, we do, as any other state does. But the government in Imo State is doing all it could within the law and to make sure that an average Imo person is happy. And you can test and gauge the mindset or the heartbeat of every civil servant in Imo State today. For the first time, their salaries are paid on time. For the first time, there is no backlog of salaries owed to civil servants. Pensioners are smiling home. Everybody is happy from what is going on in Imo State today. In terms of energy, there is also conscious effort to ensure energy sufficiency in the state, trying to harness the abundance of gas resources that we have. The state has entered a lot of partnership with global companies to be able to provide sustainable energy supply to Imo State. That is also clean. That also matters. Imo is known and very strong in commerce. Imo is also very strong in literacy. And we are harnessing these strengths in order to deliver good governance to our people. So to a large extent, I will tell you, I mean, you can also take your survey and have a pull on this. An average person in Imo State today, compared with other states and other subnationals in this country, an average person will tell you that the government in power is doing very well and excellently when delivering the social goods to the people of Imo State.
So how have we been able to prepare future generations for this digital experience, especially the workforce of Imo State? I know you have that plan. Maybe we'll use this opportunity to explain what that plan is and how far have we gone so far?
Okay, thank you so much. When you talk about educational
reform
sector and when it with specific reference to digital economy,
yeah,
and I will gladly and proudly let you know and let our audience know that Imo stands tall amongst all the other 35 states, including the FCT in this country. Like I did mention, Imo was the very first state to create the Ministry of Digital Economy and E-Government. And that shows a conscious, dedicated effort by the state government to, make targeted and critical investment in creating a digitally empowered citizen in Imo State and prepare them for the future of work, for the fourth industrial revolution, for the emerging digital economy. And this consciousness led to one of our flagship programs called the Skill Up Imo program. Mm-hmm. And this program is a premier human capacity building program targeted at empowering 300,000 Imo youth with digital skills, diverse digital skills, starting from the basic to intermediate and to advanced level. So you see the Ministry of Digital Economy pioneering this program and ensuring that every Imo youth passes through this program. We are partnering with the higher institutions in Imo State, from Futo to Nekede to IMSU to Clarishan University to K.O. Badiwo University. A lot of universities, we have partnership with them. We also have partnership with tech giants like Cisco, Microsoft, you have Zynos, Kunga, and other big companies that are also bought into our dream of Imo, successfully trained 40,000 Imo youth in diverse digital skills. Today, they are everywhere in Nigeria. We have our database tracking them, providing trading their skills for other benefits, economic benefits. They are innovators launching digital startups that are doing great things within the tech space. They are also working in different corporations, both locally and abroad, providing economic empowerment for their families and for themselves.
This is The Discourse with Dr. Ken.
Honorable Commissioner, the Imo potential is no doubt going by all I've heard you say so far. But there is no doubt a big story and very interesting story as far as Imo State is concerned. However, the challenges that Imo State faces against the enormous potential surmises the urgency of the Nigerian situation. So it's not just the Imo State challenges. The question I ask is Imo State truly the heartland best kept secret in terms of development and digital economic development potentials, going by all you have said and all you've brought to the fore this afternoon? It's looking like Imo State has been the best kept secret.
Okay, depending on because where you stand, John and understanding of what you're looking at the end of the day. For an average Imolite today, I don't think they will agree that Imo is Nigeria's best kept secret, because this state proudly boasts of the finest and the brightest of this country. From generations to generation, we have had great leaders, who have made great impact to ensure the unity of Nigeria. Academia, people from sports to entertainment in this country, and we have had the best and the greatest diaspora community any country can boast of. You've had very good people across sectors, and they are not hidden. They are like lights put on top of the table. I mean, these people are everywhere, like I mentioned, at all sectors. Look at them. They are all from Imo State. But it does appear that the current challenge we face, especially with respect to insecurity, which is largely overrated, by those who try to vote as the best kept secret. You find out that most people who are not residents in Imo State seems to have defined Imo by what they hear. But they have forgotten that we are talking about the entertainment capital of the Southeast and the South-South, a state that will boast of great citizens of this country, like the Zimbabwe of this world. You have had great people, Choma Junwa. Mention a whole lot of them. Most of the people you see in the Nollywood today, go and trace their root, they are from this state. And they are proudly Imolites. And there is no Imolite you see anywhere in the world that will not tell you I am proudly from Imo State. Imo is the number one literate state in Nigeria. So look at the literacy rate of all the 36 states in this country. You find out that Imo is at the top of that log. That is Imo for you. And these things are not secret. These things, they speak for themselves. But the other narrative seems to be very noisy, and a lot of people outside the homeland seem to believe them more. But I will beckon on every Nigerian, make your way to Imo. I will tell you that if you have arranged to stay for 2 days, with the quality of life and the niceness of the people you will meet, the hospitality of the people you will meet, you will find out that you will end up spending 1 week there. So that is Imo. We are not any secret kept, but perhaps we have to be as noisy as other states to now begin to tell people who we are and what we've got to offer to them.
Now you got it, because Yahaya Bello, of course, I think this is not the same one that was ex-governor, but Yahaya Bello is just sending a message. That's why I asked you that question. He said he served National Youth Service in Owerri, Imo State, between 1991 and 92, and that 1 year was about the best year of his life. And he still thinks that everything you have said 90% of the time is correct, but that this story has to be told more and more. That Imo was looking like a best kept secret. So it was actually from Yahaya Bello, so I threw that question to you. So you are right. Like they say in communication, if you don't tell, you don't sell. So maybe Imo needs to tell more. What do you think? I have another question from Chiamaka Onyewenyi, and okay, she's from Imo State. Good. So this one is your sister, isn't it? I said, Honorable Commissioner, all you have said today is quite exciting about Imo. In fact, it now looks like Imo in another 3 years will be the next Dubai. You as Commissioner of Digital Economy have done a great job. He says, but how can this be further enhanced, and how do you relate it with the situation of energy infrastructure in the state?
Like I said, technology, why it's so transformative in nature, is because of its ability to diffuse into other sectors, including the vertical and non-vertical sector. And our dream in Imo State is largely to capitalize a smart economy that will be able to drive progress across all the sectors in Imo State, be it in transportation, agriculture, be it in energy, be it in health, education. Our dream is to create that enabling environment and also foster an innovative ecosystem in Imo State that could mobilize the human resource capital that we have in abundance and make them to become creators of digital tools, digital products, digital services that could enable efficiency in both agri sector, energy sector, transportation sector, across board in Imo State. In Imo State, some of our graduates have built a lot of solutions that is being adopted in governance today. And the Ministry of Digital Economy has also supported a lot of our graduates to launch their own startups that are doing great things within the tech space. And the idea is build solutions that will help the farmer in Mbise, the farmer in Ohaji Ebema, the farmer in Wangele. Build solutions that could help the health sector. How do we build solutions that could enable easy access to health facilities, even from the rural communities? The sick woman could have access to the best consultant who is in the world using digital platforms. We're also trying to help government to adopt solutions that will plug revenue leakages in order to enhance our IGR capacity. And that has led us to launch what we call the revenue collection service. So this platform is 99% done. In fact, have been partly launched, but will be fully adopted by early next month. So that collection of revenue in Imo State is not going to be manually done. All the arborists you see on the street, they will have no job very soon, because people will be able to use a piece of digital device in their hand to pay for their tickets for any service that they are appropriating from the government.
In the broader Nigerian context, do you think Imo's approach to the digital economy will serve as a model for other states in Nigeria? Or are there risks, he's asking you, are there specific risks that could hold Imo back from achieving that potential?
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, and she's pointing to power generation, for example, and availability of power.
Yes. So this is a very important question, and the answers are not far-fetched, and they are not secret. There are things you can relate to it. You can Google search, and the references are there everywhere. If you come to Imo, call your cousin, call your nephew in Imo, and you could reconfirm what I'm saying. Imo proudly should stand tall as a model state when it comes to digital economy in this country. And why do I say so? There is no state that has massively energized its resources for the digital development of its youth. There is no state. A matter of fact, I was listening to the DG of NIDA, a few days ago, and he was giving a scorecard of what the federal government through NIDA was able to achieve through digital literacy. The almighty federal government was able to train 45,000 Nigerian youths in diverse digital subjects. And this mostly done online. But in Imo State, as a sub-national, we're able to train, as of today, we have trained and graduated 40,000 Imo youths in diverse digital skills and have equipped them These trainings were not online. They are in-class, in-person training. Our youth were supported by the government to attend lectures, and each of our trainees or our graduates passed through certification examinations from Cisco and Microsoft. So they have Cisco certification, Microsoft certification. And we are not just stopping it there. By training, equipping them with skills and also the tools. We gave them laptops, we gave them startup kits, depending on the courses they trained. And we supported them with mentorship programs, incubation and acceleration programs to help them stand on their own as a business. Q3, Q4 of last year, keep talking about power, sustainability, and energy sufficiency in the state. And he had made promise that by the first quarter of this year, 2025, the 27 local governments in Imo State will have 24 hours power supply. That is on that side. And these are not mere words. There are concrete steps that have been taken. A lot of MOUs have been signed. And thanks graciously to the President of the Federal Republic, our dear President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who has also graciously released one of the critical power infrastructures, that's the Ebema power plant, to Imo State, and asked Imo to rehabilitate and resource that power plant for its own use. So Imo will be able to generate power and also distribute power for his own people. And that's why Imo today has already put together the frameworks for that. Agencies, Imo Electricity Generation and Distribution Agency has been created and resourced. They are working. People are employed, they are working. The regulatory framework to manage energy sector in Imo State has also been created. And there are people also who are using that to make sure that the right targeted investments are made.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We've been with the Commissioner of Digital Economy and E-Government, Imo State, Dr. Chimezie Amade. As we wind down, I just ask one last question because I couldn't have left you without asking about legacy. Looking beyond your tenure, Commissioner, what do you hope will be the enduring legacy of your work in building Imo State's digital economy?
I think this question should have been to my master, His Excellency the Governor. But if I'm to speak from the little corner I'm occupying, I think my legacy is well captured in the idea document 2022 to 2026. We have defined clearly what we want to achieve, and I'll summarize it by this, that Imo becomes the innovation hub and the digital skills capital of Nigeria by the time we are done.
Okay.
And Imo will represent the best example of digital governance as far as Nigeria is concerned.
Okay.
Where almost everything about public services is rendered online. People can access it easily. And Imo will be the smartest economy in Nigeria at the end of our service to our dear state.
Great. Thank you very much, listeners. I'd like to take this opportunity to say that the discourse with Dr. Ken, we are going to kind of rest it after this episode because the host, Dr. Ken himself, will have to move away to a very special assignment that will take him away in and out of Lagos most of the next couple of months and then probably 1 or 2 years or even more. So we will let you know what the developments are because there are a lot that goes into the preparation of the discourse, the preparation, choosing the guests, the data behind it, and so on and so forth. So as soon as we find a framework for how we move forward, we'll let you know. But after this episode, the discourse with Dr. Ken will be rested. Is it going to be temporary? Is it going to be permanent? We'll let you know. But it's been a journey, and we thank you all listeners and those thousands and thousands of you who have been following the discourse. Commissioner, as is traditional on the discourse, you have your time now. What will be your proverb for the week and then your music for the week?
Okay. My proverb will be, there's an Igbo proverb that says, Anyo koma mirono oba ofu.
Okay, what does that mean?
There is strength in unity.
Okay.
If I love unity a lot, and I want this country to remain one, united, a lovable place for all of us. So, and we all have to play our own role and our own part to achieve unity.
Fantastic. So there's strength in unity. We all have to be united. Yes, you have the right to criticize. You have the right to be cynic, but it has to be in proportions that are reasonable. And once they are properly classified and it comes with good appetite and positive disposition, of course, it's all good for development. What will be your music for the week, Honorable Commissioner?
All right. Maybe let's go with One Love by Bob Marley, because it's also talk about unity and love.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I've had with me Honorable Commissioner for Digital Economy and E-Government, Dr. Chimezie Amade, all the way from Southeast Nigeria, Imo State to be specifically, and sitting in Owerri. Those delicacies you mentioned, definitely we are coming. We are coming in droves. I can see the messages, and somebody even said you didn't talk more about. Somebody is texting me here that you failed to talk about the music. That what he loves about Owerri is the music and the dance. So we are coming for all that, Commissioner.
Please.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely week ahead of you, listeners, and be careful and enjoy yourself. This is the Discourse with Dr. Ken. Bye.
And that's it on the Discourse with Dr. Ken.